you. As you may know, some liberal Americans are very angry the House Homeland Security Committee is holding hearings about the Muslim Jihad in America. They think it's unfair to single out one group, even if that group, Muslim terrorists, has been responsible for thousands of American deaths. Reporter Kerry Pickett of the Washington Times confronted Congressman Al Green with that fact.
It's been reported that of all the 126 terror indictments, all of them have been Muslim. Do you think that should be considered in this particular hearing or no?
I think all criminals ought to be prosecuted. I think all terrorists ought to be investigated, which is why I've said we ought to investigate all of them, and that would include the KKK. Over 100 years of terrorism, why not investigate them too? Why, they are rooted in a religion as well. Check their site out, you'll see.
Congressman King says that they haven't caused as many problems.
Well, ask the men who were castrated whether they caused a problem. Ask the men who were lynched whether they caused a problem.
Okay, here now to respond, Fox News anchor Geraldo Rivera. So I guess we're going back in history now. Does Congressman Green have a point?
Well, the only Al Green I know is the soul singer.
I actually thought that he might have retired in Texas.
No, he's got a point. I understand his point. His larger point, which I totally endorse, is that it is unfair, as you mentioned in your lead-in, to single out this one group.
Okay, now I didn't say it was unfair. I said some people like you, crazy left-wingers, think it is.
But let me just can I say one thing about the 100?
Green, though,
it's not 126. That's Eric Holder's number of the people prosecuted for terrorism, but your audience has to know that of the 126, we're talking about 50 American citizens. The vast majority of the 50 American citizens are like the knuckleheads from Newburgh, entrapped into doing terror with co-conspirators who are really FBI agents leading them down the primrose path.
If you look at the totality of the problem, in the world, not just in the United States, it is Muslim jihad generated. So Congressman Green has the nerve to foist upon the American public that the KKK should be equally looked at, when the KKK hasn't had any kind of impact in this country for decades. So you're saying to yourself,
I don't think that's true.
Do you think the Ku Klux Klan has any influence in this country right now?
Let me tell you and your audience that January 17th, the last act of attempted terror in the United States, that was a neo-Nazi, that guy in Spokane, Washington, who planted a weapon of mass destruction on the route of the Martin Luther King Day Parade March. And that was terrorism. This was a neo-Nazi. And why wouldn't a hearing on domestic terror include a heinous act like that?
Was he associated with a group?
Yeah, he was a neo-Nazi. I forget which of the groups he was
according to the Spokane police, he was a lone crazy nut.
It's not true. He's definitely a neo-Nazi. The National Alliance. Have a note. The National Alliance.
The National Alliance. Look, I'm not opposed to having hearings about these people. But to raise them to the equivalency of the jihad is insane.
Peter King is a wonderful guy. He's my favorite congressman. I don't know if he represents you, but he uses the studio in West Babylon where I went to high school on Long Island. He's a straight shooter. He stood by my friend Bernie Kerik, the police commissioner who's in jail now, when he didn't have to. He's got a daughter who's a brilliant attorney. But I bet Peter King regrets having these hearings. Why? Because they were more heat than light. They divided people. They made Muslim Americans feel assailed in many ways, Bill. I think this was a terrible, terrible idea. And because there is this this jihad against us, I buy that.
I'll ask you what I asked Congressman Ellison last night. Okay? Who's a Muslim congressman, and there is an allegation that 75% of American mosques condone, that's the important word, Sharia law and elements of the jihad. 75%.
I don't know where that statistic comes from.
That comes from Frank Gaffney's group, okay?
Frank Gaffney, again, a hard right.
He's a hard right guy. Shouldn't that statistic be analyzed and either debunked or given credibility if he can back it up? Isn't that important?
I believe that were a statistic like that accurate, I would have heard it from a source more reliably
Not in the press, you wouldn't
objective
have.
than Frank Gaffney.
Not
With all
in
due
the
respect
American
to Frank
press, you
Gaffney,
wouldn't.
I've never seen him not being extremely assertive
I'm
and
not
throwing
saying
around
the stat
numbers
is
like
right.
that.
I want to know if there's backup
I want to know what's going on in the mosques also, and I will bet you every penny I have that there's not a mosque in this country that's not being surveilled right now by federal authorities, whom I trust far more than Frank Gaffney, with all due respect to him.
But you do want to know.
I want to know.
Okay.
Of course I want. I want to know the Jewish
And the Klan
radicals.
soundbite's crazy.
And the Klan is,
So you agree
in
with
many ways, an anarchy.
I gotta go.
All right.
You agree. He agrees with me.
I
When we come
I
right
agree
back,
that you're-
the best of Glenn Beck.